Sports Zone. Sports Zone. The show that will change the way you watch sports. It's time to enter the zone. Yep, here we go.
Let's go!
Let's go! Go!
I'm Brandon Graham, and welcome to The Zone. And today, I am honored and pleased to be joined by former Major Leaguer and 2002 World Series champion, Scot Shields. Straight out of Broward County is what we're going to say. And congratulations, first of all, Scot, for being inducted into the Broward County Sports Hall of Fame. And thank you for joining us here.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, let's get into it. And what were your earliest memories of sports here in Broward County?
Just growing up and playing. I dabbled in a little bit of football early on, but that didn't last too long. But then just the Wilt Manors Little League program, it was awesome. It was a little hangout for all the kids. Everybody played it. That was just for me. That was the best time being a kid growing up down there and playing baseball.
And along those lines, who were some of the coaches or the mentors that you had growing up here in Broward?
One coach that coached me from like Little League, so 9 years old and all the way through high school was Terry Portis. I think he just recently retired from Fort Lauderdale High School. So he's one. The JV coach at Fort Lauderdale was Joe Leone. He really helped me out. And then my brother was my coach also. And my dad, those were, some of the ones. Coach Mike McMillan at Fort Lauderdale also. Those were some of the coaches that really helped me along the way.
What is it like having your family have been so close to you from when you started, obviously, throughout your career? What was that like?
It was awesome. My brother was my idol. I just wanted to grow up and be like him, kind of. He's 4 years older than me, and that was special to me to have them around and that involved in the programs.
When you first got that call that you were going to go into the Broward County Sports Hall of Fame, and obviously, you grew up here, so you know what the athletes we have and the athletes we've had. What was your reaction when you first found that out?
I was honored. Obviously, I never saw that coming. Like you said, with all the great athletes down in Broward County, it's truly an honor. I was taken aback by it. It was an awesome moment.
And obviously, Fort Lauderdale High School. Looking back a little bit at Fort Lauderdale, was there a time at Fort Lauderdale where you kind of saw that your career could end up where it went, as far as the majors and here where we are now?
Absolutely not. I was an average player in high school. I never received a scholarship offer, a letter from a college saying they're interested or anything. I was just an okay high school baseball player at that point.
And what is it like now to be a role model as it is? I mean, Fort Lauderdale players, Broward County players in general now are able to look at you as someone who is able to work hard and succeed and, get to the level that you've reached. Yeah,
that's the big thing is working hard and having that dedication to your sport, to your craft. It was something I always dreamt of doing. I never thought I'd be there. But if one person can take that and be like, hey, I didn't get anything. I'm not that good of a high school player, but hey, look at Scot. He made it work. He worked hard and kept at it. Then that's gratifying to me.
That's awesome. I love that. And what are you most proud of with regards to your journey and having worked to where you've gotten to?
I think the hard work and dedication, like I said earlier, not receiving a letter from a college saying they were interested in me. Walking out of Broward Community College and I tried out as a pitcher and shortstop, and they realized I couldn't hit, and so they kept me as a pitcher. That's something that I just, the hard work really does pay off if you put enough into it.
That's amazing to me. I think you went from that, as you said, to Sports Illustrated saying you were the top setup man of the decade, which, that's obviously you reached the highest levels of baseball and winning a World Series, winning that type of award. So Do you ever kind of think back and reflect on some of those things now that you're done, you're retired, I should say, from the majors?
Yes, it's something that now I look back and I'm like, wow, that's a pretty good ride. I had a lot of help along the way, obviously, but it's something I do look back on it and I treasure.
Now, and along those same lines, here's the other side of that. You went to Broward College, like you said, and some other things. Did you ever start to have a twinge of doubt there? Was there ever that little, I'm not sure? Was there, and how did you overcome it if you did?
There's always some doubt.
Sure.
I think the best in the world at some point, the GOATs, they have doubt every
Yep.
once in a while. And you just got to, get over that real quick and realize that, hey, you know what, you're here for a reason and just build on that part. And for one, I can't point out one particular time because obviously there was a few.
Sure.
But yeah.
You as a relief pitcher, as a setup man, there's some built-in stress that comes with that job, obviously, and I would say 99% of the world would never understand that. Talk about some of what mentally goes into doing the job that you did and doing it so well.
It's that mental part that you got to be ready every day, and kind of like I'd say maybe is a kicker in the NFL, you got to have a short memory. If you have a bad game one night, you better forget about it real quick because you're going to be out there coming in with bases loaded, one out the next night, and that confidence better be there because if it's not, it's just going to snowball from there. So I think just that mentality part of turning the page one, good or bad, one night after another.
And you had a phenomenal career with the Angels. What was it like just being with the team for so long and being able to kind of put the roots in there and just be an Angel?
Yeah, I was very fortunate, like you said, to spend my whole career with the Angels. When I first started out, we had a veteran locker room, and then as the years went on, it kind of changed to the younger guys were coming up. And then, after a while, I was one of the leaders of the clubhouse, and that takes something to be able to be a leader of a locker room. I wasn't the big rah talking guy, but I just led by example. And I think other guys coming along, they saw that and said, hey, this guy, he doesn't have to be the vocal leader, but you go about doing your job and things can work out.
Where do you think you got some of your leadership qualities from?
Again, I think my dad and my brother really helped out, and my mom. My mom was a baseball coach. I'm not talking about T-ball. She was, 15, 16-year-old, coaching baseball.
Okay.
I think just the leadership from my family, of your values and everything kind of helped me along the way.
Who are some of those matchups that you remember from your major league career? Some of those pitcher hitter matchups that you kind of remember that still stand out in your mind?
I remember one, really in particular, facing Barry Bonds in the World Series. I only pitched once in the World Series, and I didn't do the best, but I gave up only a single to Barry Bonds, and that was a year. He was having those years where he was, if he got a pitch to hit, it was gone. That was one of them. I remember facing David Ortiz in Fenway Park with the bases loaded, and getting a big strikeout on him, with 2 outs so to end the inning.
Wow.
Just some of those, the atmosphere at some of those ballparks was just unreal, and to go out there and get some success was pretty cool.
And again, you've just gone through, and I think, like you said, the work and how much you put into grinding is one of those things that is such an admirable quality, and why I think you deserve this award and all the others you deserve. And what advice do you give to someone who's a Fort Lauderdale high school student, or honestly anyone in South Florida, Broward County, who's maybe looking and I want to get to that level?
I know I'm repeating myself, but it goes back to hard work and dedication. It doesn't matter if you're baseball player, an athlete, anything you do in life, the hard work, dedication, preparation will get you far in life. And, I know I'm sounding repetitive, but I think that's the biggest key for me.
I think that, I know, honestly, I think that's incredible. And I think that's one of those things, personally anyways, that gets overlooked now a little bit. It's the final result. And I think people forget about the work every now and then in between.
Yeah, the preparation is
exactly.
key. I mean, in the major leagues, we had the resources to watch the video and do all. Obviously, it's way more now with all the analytic stuff. But the preparation behind the scenes is what goes unnoticed, and that got me a long ways. And and even before the major leagues, when you're just the preparation of the working out, getting the mental awareness and everything like that. That was always key for me.
And along those lines, what are some of the things that you do? Because I think obviously the casual fan turns a TV on and sees, all right, Scot Shields is coming out of the bullpen. He's going to throw some pitches, and then we'll see what happens. What is some of the preparation that goes on? Because as a person, as a relief, you've got to know, I would think, an entire lineup almost before you even take the mound. So what goes into that?
Just for me. Doing I wasn't the biggest workout guy. I did my little weights just to keep me ready for the season. Doing that stuff, doing the exercise, running, studying the opposing hitters on paper and on video. It took a lot of work. With the pitchers meetings, going over the hitters, and that's really where all that was.
And finishing up this show with you, Scot, what are you kind of most proud of now that you're going into the Broward County Sports Hall of Fame and being able to kind of take that moment and take this victory lap that's well deserved, honestly? What are you most proud of as you look back at this honor?
I think a couple things. Obviously, the World Series is one of the things I'm most proud of. But I think staying with the same team my whole career. I got drafted by them in 1997. And then, my minor league career and big league career was all with the same club. And in the big leagues, I had one manager the whole time. And that's really, you don't see that often for somebody who has 10 years that has the same manager his whole career. And I was very fortunate. And Mike Scioscia was a great manager. So, yeah, I'd say being with the same club.
Scot, we really appreciate it. And I think I played football and soccer and volleyball here in Broward County, and I coached here and grew up here. From somebody like myself, I really appreciate people like you who are able to give kind of a look at what hard work does and continue to be the same humble person that you've always been. And really, it's an honor that I love to be able to see people like you get. So thank you for sharing your story with us and being the athlete and the role model that you've been for our athletes here in South Florida.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So make sure you check out our social media because you want to find out when Scot goes in. You want to see when his induction speech and all the good things that he's going to do as a member of the new Broward County Sports Hall of Fame as an inductee this year. Thank you for watching, and absolutely thanks Scot Shields for joining us here on The Zone.